Hello, welcome back to Notre Dame Day. I am Rocky BOIMAN, and talk about an amazing story we're about to share with you. Our next guest snapped a photograph last December that has just taken the internet by storm, but not because it was just a beautiful photo, but because of what some Notre Dame alum, Robert Kloska, and millions of others saw in a photo a day later that continues to inspire people ever since. Bob, thanks for taking the time. Welcome to Notre Dame Day. How are you?
Thank you. Great to be here.
So you spend time often walking around Notre Dame's campus. Take us to that December day just a few months ago. What stuck out to you and what happened?
I happened to go to Mass at the Basilica on a Sunday. And when I was done, I habitually stopped by the Grotto just because that's what you do, right?
Of course.
And I see this young man kneeling down, perfectly motionless. And there are these big, wet snowflakes falling on top of him. And I thought that is a really touching tribute to this kid praying. So I took a photo. And as soon as I took the photo, my camera turned off. I had plenty of battery and went home and thought nothing of it.
Really? So you take the photo, you think it's, okay, just a normal photo.
Right.
But then you go home,
and
then what happens?
I need memory on my iPhone. So it's 11 o'clock, like 9 hours later, and I'm going to delete pictures, and I look at this thing, and I say, there's a streak. It looks like a snowflake fell in front of the camera. But the way that it played with the rocks, it looked like Our Lady holding her child. And I put it up on Facebook. I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning to messages of people telling me that they're crying. And I'm not used to that when I put a photo on Facebook. Right. So I sent it to some of my Notre Dame friends. And they're all texting me back saying, I'm in tears. This is incredible. And the story took off from there.
So hundreds and hundreds of people are reaching out to you saying this photo has inspired you. But I want to introduce our next guest, Henryka. This is where the story really gets amazing. So talk about you. You have never met Robert before in your life, right? But you noticed something in his picture that looked like something you had seen or done before.
I did not know about his picture until he contacted me through an email. I was at work. I opened up email, and there's his picture and my picture side by side. So that was, I think, March 2nd. And I cried also. I think that story about the snowflake and the image of Blessed Mother, or the icon that we associate with, and having a grandson at Michigan State, I mean, it just touched me to the core.
Right, so again, this photo you took was December this past year, but you had painted a picture, what, 15 years prior to that, correct?
1998.
1998. Now, if we can get a shot of this picture, and if we can get one side by side, you painted this picture, and you're not an artist either, though, right?
No, I don't have any art training. This is a result of my son's life. He died at 13, and at that time, going through that, to grieve, through that enormous pain, knowing how our faith got me through it. And not only for me, but for him, because if our Christian faith, we bank on resurrection, that means the soul survives. So he was 13. I needed somebody to look after him when I couldn't do it anymore. So as a result, I wanted something contemporary, and I was going to hire artists to do it, but I couldn't find one. 11 years after that.
How about that?
No, 11 years I was given the grace to be the instrument. And thus far, there's about 200,000 around the world. I send almost 40,000 to the world youth. And I hear from people from different walks of life, even in prisons.
Wow.
So it's enormous grace.
So what's it been like, you two, after all this kind of goes down, such a fortuitous meeting, what's it been like getting to know one another?
It's amazing. And the story has many, many layers to it. There's the story of the young man in the photo. The grotto was dedicated on the feast of Our Lady of Snow 120 years ago, almost like a precursor. But here's the beautiful thing about Notre Dame. If you think about it, the most important woman in the history of the world, the mother of the Redeemer has been welcomed onto this campus, and she visits all the time. And students can take her as a mentor and have access. All they have to do is invite her in.
Very cool. Such an inspirational story. It's so great you guys get to meet and interact with one another. Thanks so much for sharing your story today on Notre Dame Day.